What's going on, guys? Failed to listen. Welcome back to The Divide, episode 3. We are trying this for the second time, Joey and I. I promise that next time we will have at least one more person, possibly even two. So it is pretty early in the morning here on Wednesday. Somehow I got it messed up and thought it was Saturday or Sunday. That tells you how crazy my schedule is right now. But yeah, Joey, man, go ahead, shout yourself out. I'm definitely not the type to, like, every episode we're all gonna, shout ourselves out or whatever. So, I'm gonna give someone an opportunity here and there, and I will put links in the description. But I don't know, me personally, Joey, I don't know how you feel about it, but me personally, I'm a little annoyed with everyone kind of shouting themselves out in every podcast episode that they have. That's just me. But yeah, so go ahead and shout yourself out. Tell us a little bit about your channel, and then we'll go from there.
All right, YouTube, what's good, fam? Joy Luciano here, and essentially my channel is just I don't know a place where I go to give my thoughts and impressions on certain things in the community. That I try to always supply some gameplay as a backdrop. I don't like to talk against a static image. There are some news articles. I wouldn't consider myself a news for views type individual, but mostly you're just gonna get an honest, fair opinion with pretty decent gameplay, and that's about it. And I kind of agree with, like, if they're there every episode and it's episode 50, like, we know who you are by now. But yeah, you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
like in the beginning, like, yeah, I don't see what's the harm in it. So yeah, man, Joy Luciano, thank you for having me.
Man, no problem. So yeah, again, we will try and have Joey is talking to an acquaintance of ours, maybe more so a friend for him, and I think he's gonna join us next time. And I'm gonna try to get someone either from the comment section of the one video or just someone I know personally, and then maybe we'll have a guest or something. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So today, I don't know if you've seen this. There is officially now some Middle Earth Shadow of War gameplay, like 15 minutes, 16 minutes. Have you seen that?
I seen the post. I have not got a chance to actually look at it.
All right, so there really isn't much that we can like discuss back and forth, but that game looks really, really good. Now, the visuals, it does say that it's alpha gameplay, so they're not all that special right now. It's not that Shadow of Mordor was like amazingly beautiful either, but it was a damn good looking game at the time. I mean, I think it still looks pretty good, but I might
It was
even
an
argue.
envelope.
Go
It might
ahead.
have been an envelope pusher when it first dropped.
Yeah, like
It might have been pushing forward a little bit. That today it doesn't look that good, but I think when it first came out, it was one of the better looking games.
yeah, so like I think, and maybe someone has a different opinion. I think right now Mordor, obviously as it should, does look better because again, this is alpha gameplay, and some of the things about the fire and stuff and the dragons, I was a little turned off by. Like not so much the animations. All the animations and everything look really solid. It's just the visuals aren't there yet, and there's definitely going to be some polish in place before the game comes out, obviously. But that game's looking pretty good, man. So it's looking like a lot of the same, and it's also looking a lot different now. You can actually start building an army from some of these higher up orcs and like lieutenants and stuff, and they can actually betray you, or sometimes you might go to take one of these head orcs out, and they may want to like have a change of heart and join up with you in your army or something, and you can promote certain orcs too. Like maybe this orc did a better job in helping, during this siege or this battle or whatever, and you can say, all right, who helped me the most, and then promote them, and they take over that part of the land which you went to battle for. So it's just there's a lot going on there, and you can tell that this one is even more so more of an RPG than the original game. But yeah, when you get a chance, or those that are listening to the podcast, you get a chance, there is some gameplay. Go and check that out because that game's going to be beast for sure. I don't know if it's going to be game of the year or anything, but it's going to be a very good game, I think, for sure.
That's what's up. I'm intrigued because the original Mortal, I got like 87 or 83% complete on that game without trying to. Like it was one of those games, much like what I'm experiencing now with a couple of games that I'm playing. Not to mention them because we're talking about this game. I want to keep the focus there. Like you would just go, okay, I'm gonna get off, and then one more thing, or you would get into an encounter, or orc would remember you, and it was just kept you moving forward. Now it had its issues, but overall, it was the sleeper hit of the year. Was released. It was a great game. The story was, especially if you're into the Lords of the Rings, you know what I mean. Like that's just a plus. It was a great experience. I look forward to playing this one.
Did you beat it? Did you beat the first one?
Yeah, 83%.
Okay.
When I say 83%, as only had that much content, I gotta go find like 3 orbs and I think 1 base, and I would get the platinum for it.
That last boss battle though was a little disappointing.
Yeah, it was but it was a sign of that year. If you want to look at it, that year, a lot of the end games had QTEs. I think Dying Light also had a QTE.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah,
and there's a couple of other ones, but hopefully they'll learn from their mistakes. The Nemesis system is godlike. Like, it was one of the coolest things. If they ask you, if they ask me, one of the things that have pushed this generation forward, in terms of it's one of those things. Like technically, you couldn't do that last gen, according to the devs anyway. Like these people would remember you. Like they would remember if you ran from them, if you spit acid on them, or whatever you did to them. If they survived and they saw you later on, they would bring it up in the pre-battle conversation. It was pretty epic what they did there. So I just look forward to more fully fleshed out systems in that regard.
Do you know if, like, I haven't dug deep enough yet, but do you know if Monolith, I think it's Monolith, right? Do you know if they are developing the game internally? I know their name is stamped on it, but like I just don't know, because the last that I heard, they were working on a completely different game, like something that they had never done before, like maybe even a new IP. So I don't know. Like hopefully they're developing it, because if not, I mean, it's still probably going to be really good, but if they're not developing it, that's going to be
Is it Warner Brothers or Warner Brothers Montreal?
I think it's Warner Brothers Interactive or.
Okay, so if that's the case, then it's a good chance that Monolith is developing it, because if it was Montreal, but Montreal is doing the new Batman.
Yeah, there's a rumor that they're doing another Batman game. How do you feel about that? We can just kind of go into that real quick, even though that wasn't a topic that I had, but like. All right, I still haven't played Arkham Knight. I need to get to that in 2017 and possibly even review that game. But, like, I feel a little burned out. I feel a little fatigued by the Batman stuff. There was just so many so quickly. I think the first one came out in 2009, 2010. And then you had Arkham City in 2011, which was an excellent game for many people. It was their game of the year. And then you had Origins in 2012 or 2013. So it's like every year and a half, 2 years, we get a new one, and I'm feeling a little burned out. So if they got another one coming this year, I don't know. I mean, I love Batman. I really do. But I think those Arkham games, I think just Batman in general for now needs a break, unless they're going to completely switch it up, like a whole new combat system, a whole new way of playing, maybe even, you do some stuff in a game as Bruce Wayne for a few hours or something like that could be pretty cool if it's done right, if the execution is there. But I don't know, I just feel a little Batmaned out with the video games. I don't know. I mean, I can't wait for the Ben Affleck movie, but like as far as the games, I can go without Batman for another year or two as far as I'm concerned. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's just me.
I don't know. I'm of the vein that there's never too much Batman. There's never too much Wolverine. When they're done right. Now, Arkham Origins, which was the game handled by Montreal WB, was a lot of people gave it some serious flack. I didn't see anything wrong with it outside of the crashes. It had issues, game breaking bugs, yes, when it first launched. All that WB wasn't gonna try to fix the game anymore because they were gonna move on to the DLC. You know, all those things that have been well documented over the years. The story to Origins was one of the better stories I thought in all the Arkham in the whole Arkham series. As far as the Arkham games go, the Arkham Knight to get through it was hard. I didn't agree with the Batmobile. I got the series was definitely showing fatigue. I'm okay with giving Montreal another shot at it because I really appreciated the story arc that they went with. Excuse me for 1 second. And so hopefully they'll be able to deliver that again. Like if the gameplay stays the same, yeah, we need something new, something a little bit more innovative. I know the Batmobile was not the answer in the last Arkham Knight. So, hopefully they'll be able to give us a nice pack. It doesn't need to be too long, just a nice, concise package. Yeah, here's a Batman game to hold you over to whatever the Justice League or Superman or whatever Rocksteady's working right now comes out, or Mordor. But that's how I feel about that. I mean, if they're gonna release the game, the least it could be is good, right? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, rumor is the Batmobile is still a part of this new game, but it's completely optional. Like I don't think they're gonna involve it in any missions or anything based on what I was seeing there. But who knows? Like who can say for sure? And I think that was a big problem for a lot of people. Again, even though I haven't got anywhere close to completing that game, I think I have maybe 2 or 3 hours into it. But a lot of people complain that they forced you into the Batmobile in certain missions and doing certain things with completing the story. So I could see how that would be a little annoying, a little frustrating. Like you want to be Batman, and I guess having that vehicle is part of the entire Batman experience. But at the same time, it's like some people want to play how they want to play, and that's just factual. Just gotta accept the facts.
I mean,
Go ahead.
not bad.
I was gonna close out with the Batman topic and ask you if you've
Okay.
seen Logan since you brought up
Oh
Wolverine.
no, me and my wife never go first weekend, so we're trying to go this weekend maybe.
I almost never go first weekend because usually, especially like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it's like packed no matter what time of the day you go. So I did go this time though. I just heard so many great things. I really wanted to see it, and you know what? Logan is a great movie. It is definitely the best Wolverine movie, but I gotta tell you, there's at least six, seven, maybe eight other Marvel movies that are better than this movie. I mean, it's really good. Um, and even though I don't have a problem with cursing or anything, they really took advantage of that R rating. I mean, sometimes it just feels like there's cursing just because they wanted to curse in this
Mm.
Wolverine movie. You know what I mean? Violence just for the sake of being
Yeah, let's just
violence or
show how
whatever.
adult we are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And but it works well for his character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The movie itself it's great. It really is. It's very good. But yeah, there's better movies. I would say both of the Avengers movies are better. Deadpool is definitely better. Guardians of the Galaxy better. Um, Winter Soldier better. Civil War is better. Iron Man 1 better. I
See
still
now what you're doing though is that those are, and we're gonna go off on a complete sidetrack here.
we could we
But
can do that. It's all right.
those movies are the Disney Marvel movies. And those and I haven't seen Logan yet, so I'm not here to say it's not or it is better or anything else. But it's kind of hard to measure Fox Marvel universe up against the Disney Marvel universe. Disney comes with all wallets open and blazing, and the stuff that they can do in those movies. And then, the Avengers, they're great movies, and so is Guardians of the Galaxy, one of my favorites. But that's all ensemble cast, CGI, big budget explosion, summer blockbuster. This movie was set to be the story of the winding down of a career of a man who he's tired, and how much Can you put into that? He's exhausted. Professor X is exhausted. They just want to just get whatever they're doing this time and get it over with. You know what I mean? And so that doesn't lend. I think it's too different. You know what I mean? Like it's like almost they're two different genres of film, but they both happen to be comic book movies. You understand? Like you have a gritty portrayal of this story narrative going on. Like I said, I haven't seen it, so I could turn around and go see it on Friday or Saturday, and he's running around in a clown nose and makeup, and I'm gonna look like a jerk for even saying what I just said. And then you have like a that summer blockbustery Michael Bay thing that Disney does. But because if you did you see X-Men Futures Past?
Yeah, the only one I didn't see is the last one, the Apocalypse or whatever. I thought
Yeah,
I
okay.
thought that looked like garbage, so I didn't even bother with
And a
that.
lot of people didn't like it, but as far as the story goes, and so I look at movies for and they completely killed. When I say as far as the story goes, they killed the comic book story of that. Like they murdered it. It's not
It's
even
awful, right? Just
it's
awful.
not even remotely close. But if you go and you look at that story with the cinematography and the different shots and you appreciate it for that, it's not. I have it here in 4K. And then again, to me, 4K and HDR makes everything better, right? So maybe that's why I'm the apologist for the movie. But it like it's the story, the grit. They go down a dirtier, grittier path. You know what I mean? They're not. People will die and will die repeatedly. Like it's not like I feel like in the Marvel, the Disney canon, everybody's just and not Deadpool, of course, but they're just so happy to go about their job and lose and win, and it's like a Broadway play. Like everybody's happy and they're all dancing and cheering, shucking and jiving, so you get to the final act.
Like what you're saying is like in the Disney films, it almost feels like a little predictable in terms of like the heroes. Like you know that they're going to be fine at the end of
Yeah,
this movie. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah. It's like
they're definitely not gonna kill anybody off, anybody super important anytime soon. That's for sure. I mean, there were actually rumors, and maybe this might still be like spoiler alert for those that haven't come out yet, but this was supposed to be for Civil War, and Captain America was supposed to die. There were rumors about that months in advance before the movie came out. Obviously, that didn't happen. So I'm glad that it didn't, because honestly, like Captain America is like he's becoming one of my favorites just based on the movies alone. And if they killed him off, that would be pretty disappointing. I mean, I'm not going to stop watching the other films because of it or anything, but it would be really disappointing and a pretty devastating blow to like that whole universe. So Winter Soldier, I think, is still
winner,
like
winner.
the standard. Like I think it is the best Marvel movie to date, in my opinion. I mean, someone else may disagree, but
It's that movie's amazing, but Captain America is like Superman. He's like Marvel's Superman. He's like bland. He's the good old boy. He always gonna do what's right, and I guess that's why like Winter Soldier and everything else. He starts to walk the line, and it's like okay, cool, but I don't know. He's always been boring to me.
really, you don't even like him in the
Yeah,
films?
I don't. He's decent in the films, but his character overall is like you know what you're gonna get. He's not gonna. He's only gonna go so far, right? He's like he got that moral. He's that moral shield on. He's not gonna he's not gonna push the envelope. And like just like Superman, to me, Superman is okay, Superman. You know what I mean? Now he's a lot less powerful than Superman. He can be hurt, and I guess that's what lends a little bit to his character in my opinion, as to why I can watch him and I do enjoy him from time to time. But like when Superman's on screen, I'm like, hurry up and get the kryptonite and kill him, or try to kill him and fail, like because that's all you can basically do with Superman, right? And so with Captain America, it's always like, oh, okay. I'll sit here and wait and watch somebody else. He's like always been bland to me. It's like steak and they didn't even bother to put salt on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
It's
gotta have
like
some
come
salt
on.
and some mushrooms and some
No,
onions.
no. A little bit of adobo if you lean that way. I don't know.
Nah, I don't know what it is. I'm really feeling Captain America. Maybe it's like secret man crush on Chris Evans or something. I don't know.
Them romances be strong. Nowadays.
But anyway, just moving on from that, Nier
Yes.
is about to drop. I think it already did drop for PS4. Am I wrong about that?
Yes, it's on PS4.
Okay, so it's already released for PlayStation 4. That came out yesterday, right? Yesterday.
Yes, Monday night, Tuesday morning.
Yeah, the PC version releases next Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And I pulled the trigger last night. I never pre-order games because, like, usually, companies don't run out of digital keys or anything. That's kind of a rarity or whatever. So I did pre-order the game, and the guy that we played Rainbow with, my buddy King, he also pulled the trigger last night. And I normally don't buy games at $60, but I am hearing so many good things about this game. And just looking at different GIFs and gameplay videos over the last several months, I was pretty sold on this game for a long time, being that it's Platinum Games and they gave me Metal Gear Rising, which is probably a top 10, top 20 game. At least top 20. For sure top 20. Maybe it might make its way out of the top 20. I'd really have to think about it. But to me, Metal Gear Rising is one of the greatest games ever created, just because the game is just so damn fun. The music is solid. If you're going to play on one of the higher difficulties, like countering and the parry attacks and everything, they're everything in that game, and it can prove to be really challenging. And I can't see this one being any different, especially on the higher difficulties. Obviously, we're dealing with a completely different universe, but things that I've heard from the soundtrack, everything that I've seen from the gameplay, I am ready for that game. Again, I was on NeoGAF last night asking, because some people have had it since like the 23rd. They've had they got the Japanese version or something. They had it since like the 20th or whatever of February. So I'm like, hey, some critics have stated this is like 30-40 hours. Is that true? And one guy was like, if you want all of the endings, probably 40 or 50. If you want to do, all of the side quests and other things, maybe 60, 65 or something. So I'm like, all right, you know what? How many games that have come out just like in the last year or so that were pretty highly rated or whatever, how many of those games gave 30-40 hours just to get a lot of the endings? So I'm thinking in my head, you know what, it's Platinum, this game looks really fun to me, I'm gonna get it, 60 bones. And like I said, I almost never pre-order, and I almost never get games at 60. The next one might be Mass Effect Andromeda. I might give them 60 just to be on the safe side on Origin, so I can have that refund if I need to. If it's a poorly optimized game or I'm just not feeling it in the first hour or two, I can always get that refund. And then beyond that, man, the only other game I can see myself paying $60 for in 2017 is probably Red Dead Redemption. And that's if that game comes out, you know what I mean? So I'm excited. I think Nier has a chance to possibly be my game of the year. I have Resident Evil 7 now, so I'm really trying to lock up and finish Mad Max. I'm so far behind in my backlog.
You still haven't finished Mad Max.
Yeah, I got like 70 hours in that game. But what happened is kind of the same thing that happened with Witcher 3.
What?
Well, the OCD kicked in, but it was like this. It was a similar situation to Witcher 3 where I forgot a lot what was happening in the story, even though there's not much story to speak of. I kind of forgot the controls a little bit. So I'm like, fuck this, and I started all over. So that's kind of what happened. That's why I have 70 hours in Mad Max.
I do that, but I have to be gone for a minute.
I
could
was.
find, like, if I play a game and I'm gone for an exorbitant amount of time and I come back and I can't find my way back at all, I'll do what you just did. But I try desperately to find my way back before I start all over again. And I tend to do it more with RPGs than anything. So I can understand that.
That's because those games are long, like or an open world game like Mad Max is like, if you start this game all over, it's gonna be a rough ride because like you've already been on this water at least once or twice, and it's kind of like I don't really want to do all this all over again, but it's kind of necessary at this point. So anyway, without getting too sidetracked with what I have and haven't played in my backlog. So are you getting Nier? Are you going to get that for PC or PS4? Not your type of game.
All right. Definitely want Nier. Like, there is no way around that, right? But I have a couple of issues.
Uh
One,
oh.
I'm still in the world of Horizon Zero Dawn, right? And I've recently, as of Friday, jumped into the world of Hyrule in Zelda Breath of the Wild. And then you have the show coming out at the end of March. And then you also have Mass Effect Andromeda coming out. And so I look at Nier and I go, yes, I want this game. I want it on my PC. But where? Where is it going to fit? How many? I have to split myself into 7 people. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. The amount of good games we got going on now is like,
And Mass Effect's about ready to drop too.
exactly. And so somebody got to get sacrificed. And I know on the whole YouTube thing, well, you do it for the culture, you do it for you sacrifice, and getting some Nier footage for a couple of videos would be boss, right? And like, but I can't. Also, if you're gonna buy the game and not play it, then why not sit and wait until, you know what I mean? If it goes down, it goes down. If it doesn't, you still get it at 60. What's the big deal? But like, nah, man. At some point, it's like you gotta be like, okay. And if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen my collection. I have pretty much, in terms of the consoles and the PC, like, I have every console, almost every peripheral. I have a VR. I have all the stuff that I have to support. At a certain point, I gotta be like, you know what? Maybe this one might it could be okay to maybe miss this one. And then what's gonna happen is Thursday night before midnight, I'm gonna find a way to get on Steam and buy the game. Because that's what honestly, truly is going to happen. Because first time we recorded this. The Switch, I don't know, and it's just got.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, yeah.
And I sure as shit, Friday morning, was out of the store like, yo, can I have my Switch, please? Tapping my vein like, yes, let's get it and go. So, I'm probably just lying to myself when I say I'm gonna wait, but I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna give it the good old honest try.
I'll tell you what game's going to hold that L for me. I'll tell you what game is not going to be bought for probably 6 months to a year, maybe even more, and that's Ghost Recon Wildlands. That game can sit it out for me. Nier, I feel like I must play that. Mass Effect has me very interested, even though I've only played the second one from the other games and I couldn't really get into it, but this one looks really, really fun. But Ghost Recon Wildlands, For Honor, also just a week or two old or something. Those two games, they can have that seat as far as I'm concerned. And actually, there was an article yesterday, several talking about the same thing. For Honor, the Steam numbers have dropped 50%.
50%.
Yeah, 50% from where they were at when the game launched, and that's awful. That is awful, and it's a shame because it actually looks like a solid game. It looks like a very well-made game. I don't know if it's, PC gamers are really just into the whole dedicated server thing, and they're like, hey, I paid $60 for this game. Some of them may have got it free with the NVIDIA stuff or whatever. I don't know, but they want dedicated servers. It's a competitive game where, timing and lag and things like that can play a huge factor of whether or not you lose a 1v1 battle, and maybe that's got something to do with it. I don't know, the dedicated server thing, or maybe it's not as good as I think it is. I mean, I didn't play it, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. I got a couple of friends that did get it on Steam, and they seem to enjoy it, but I don't know. I mean, do you own the game, PS4 or PC?
I got it. I beat the story. I did a first impression. I played multiple multiplayer matches, and it couldn't hold me. So it went by the way of everything else that I get that I don't appreciate. I usually give it to my nephews, and so
Well, what is it
it
about the game that you think is?
it definitely suffered from peer to peer. There's no way around that, and you can get around that in the console space maybe, but on PC, you can't get around it. When you're whole, because listen, I'm gonna say it like this: some PC players, and some of them have a right to be right, are very picky and finicky. And if you ruin their experience with bad optimization, there's a ton of CSGO is always waiting, baby. CSGO is always there. It's like the one faithful, truthful bottom. I don't want to curse, so it's like that one good old girl that's always there waiting for you to come back to, right? And so they're not putting up with your bad net code. They're just not having it. If you give them bad net code, they're gonna give you the boot. And on console, besides suffering from 30 frames, it did also suffer from peer to peer, and it just it had promise, but it had too big lingering. You could barely get through a match, and when you did get through a match, it was one sided because other people. So all in all, yeah, their netcode failed them this time around, and I don't think this time of year. See what helped Rainbow Six was that there wasn't a lot in the landscape, so people could have been patient
It's true.
and waited.
It's true.
There's not. This is not the time. You have a very small window, and if you screw up your window, you're done. Because there's other things that people are gonna move on to, and they're gonna forget you even came out. By the end of the year, when they're releasing oh wait a minute, For Honor came out this year? You're kidding me. Like, and that's what's gonna happen to this game. And another thing is as well, it seems to be that all Ubisoft wants to give you is games as services.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Here we go.
Again, it works with Rainbow. I don't know why it works with Rainbow, but it just does. Maybe I'm partial to Rainbow, but it just does. When they flopped with the Division, they never fully. The Division was a pretty game and everything, but they never fully realized their promises.
Yeah,
the promises
true.
they gave their.
I like the game, but I can agree with that. I like the game, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And so you take that, and now they want to give you Ghost Recon, which that is not Ghost Recon.
That is not Ghost Recon. Rainbow Siege is definitely more Rainbow than Ghost Recon. Wildlands is Ghost Recon.
You could definitely say that. And so what you have in Ghost Recon is you have the Division meets Just Cause and goes to the jungle, and there you go. And that's what Ghost Recon is. And some people they became franchises for a reason, right? People looked for these games every year or every 2 years for a reason. When you continually bastardize your more famous IPs and try to change them into something that they're not, at some point you're going to get a pushback. And I don't know if the pushback is with Ghost Recon, but I definitely know For Honor is going to flop. So, and I'm hoping, and I hate to say this, because I don't wish bad on no dev, right? They all go to work hard and they all want to provide a meaningful experience. But I hope a message is delivered through Ghost Recon that Ubisoft gets, that the fans still want certain things to remain the way that they are. Because God forbid they try something like this with Sam Fisher.
Oh my God. There better not be an open world Splinter Cell game or a Splinter Cell game where it feels like a game as a service. That's you cannot. I mean, they could mess that up, but like you can't do that. I would be like Splinter Cell, possibly my favorite Ubisoft IP. So that would be very upsetting. But going back to For Honor real quick, I was just thinking as you were speaking about the peer-to-peer and all that. Let's just hypothetically, for the podcast, the conversation's sake, say it did have dedicated servers. Say it did have, maybe it was the most well-optimized PC game ever, one of the best well-optimized console games. Maybe they even got it at 60 FPS on consoles too, right? Just works flawlessly. It's like almost a perfect product out of the box. With all of that said, dedicated servers, great performance across all platforms. we have to consider the time, right? Like you mentioned a window. Consider what it released between, right? So you had, I think For Honor came out a week before or a week after Horizon Zero Dawn. So a lot of PlayStation fans were looking forward to that. I mean, I'm sure some PlayStation fans did buy For Honor. I mean, the game probably sold, I don't know, if I had to guess up to this point, like maybe 1.5 million across all platforms. Maybe that's, I might be overestimating that, but I'll just shot in the dark. So then you had Switch hype and Zelda hype. You had a more known IP with Ghost Recon Wildlands coming out. Some people have been really excited for that. Maybe they're just more excited for the name, but either way, it's Ghost Recon. So you got another game that's going to cannibalize this new IP because it's a very well-known name. And now you got Nier, which, to be honest, probably won't sell a lot, and that's a damn shame because it's supposed to be a really, really good game. But Platinum, they just don't have that name. They don't have that mainstream name. Like, the nerds know who Platinum is. Like, we know who Platinum is, but they make games that aren't really going to catch fire like that. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. I know a lot of people feel like Platinum are hit and miss, and I would agree with that to some extent. So there's Nier as well that I think more people are probably excited for that than they were for Honor. Maybe I'm wrong. And then you have Mass Effect coming out this month, and I'm probably missing 1 or 2 games. There's just too many. There's too much from the time that this new IP released, even if it had released in a much better state with dedicated servers. There's no way it could have survived in this climate. There's just too many good games right now. There's just too much. It's too much.
100% right. But I think people would have been more apt to like leave it as the third or second experience that they have if there was something decent to go back to. It only exacerbated the problem quicker by having the flaws that it did. But it is, to agree with you 100%. The competition is, it's not competition for the faint of heart nowadays. And this is good. If I may touch on this real quick. Usually around this time of year, we're getting back to finishing up our backlog from November, December, and October, right? And where we're starting to settle in for this long drought that we get until September or October. And this year, it's like, nah, just here, keep on giving us your wallet. This is what you waited for. And it's scary. Like, my wallet runs and hides every time I go ready to walk out the door. But like, it's refreshing. You know what I mean? And for the person, just think about for the person who doesn't have to get all these games day one. When they turn around and they're ready in October, November, they're gonna have an unlimited amount of options. It's gonna seem like.
Yeah, their backlog is gonna grow for sure when they're buying these games at like $15-$20 a piece on Black Friday or whatever. They're getting those like buy two get one free type of deals, and all at $20-$30 or something. I mean, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be, there's just too much. There's just too much right now. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I mean, if you can't afford to buy every game, I mean, it's overload right now. I mean, if you have interest in every one of these games that we just mentioned, and
your head's gonna explode.
Yeah, your head's gonna explode. Living paycheck to paycheck or something, and it's kind of hard for you to get that $60 game in there. I mean, yeah, your head's gonna explode. I apologize for the language. We're trying to improve on that. So, AMD Ryzen. We talked a little bit about it before we messed up the original podcast. Just to touch on it a little bit more. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the gaming beast that a lot of people, including myself, were hoping for. It's not bad either. It's still really good, but it just doesn't match up really with the better i5s and better i7s of the world, like the 7600K and then the 7700K, are still beating it in pretty much most games, from the benchmarks that I've seen. This doesn't necessarily mean that, say, something like, the best i5 is better than one of these Ryzen chips, but for gaming, it probably is. Now, I don't doubt that improvements will be made. Like they will definitely be able to pump more juice a little bit later through updates and such. But I guess maybe I overestimated a little bit. I was pretty excited for Ryzen, and now I'm kind of feeling like, is this ever going to be a really good gaming chip, or just something that's great for, rendering videos and streaming? So, have you just, I don't know if you've seen some of the numbers, but have you lost interest at all? Like, do you even care now?
It's not that I don't care, and it's not that I've lost interest. I've taken a different approach to it, and it's kind of like, I can still see myself building a Ryzen build, and it's for this reason. It might not be the best at gaming, but it looks like it's going to give you the best multifaceted chip at the best price it can give it to you. So in other words, like, well, we know it does rendering better, and it does certain performances better than the Intel side of thing. And the gaming, and here's the thing though, the gaming numbers it's getting is not something to be scoffed at.
Yeah, they're not bad. I don't know what people are talking about.
Bad gaming numbers. It's not like they pulled in 70, 80 frames and everybody's like, oh, they're still in the hundreds to 150 frames. In a lot of these tests, they're just not beating NVIDIA, right? Or they're just not beating Intel in this case. I'm sorry.
Right.
And so they're just not beating Intel in this case. And so, and there's a lot of, but patches, time, maybe they'll get it, maybe they won't. But in an overall package, what it's presenting to you just might be, look, you can game very, very adequately and still render your videos and do your work and do your stuff at a much higher rate and still save some money. So if you look at the complete package, something that's oft not done in this enthusiastic space, you might still have there still might be some value in this chip. Now, if your only reason for buying the chip is I want frames, I need frames, give me frames and more frames, then no, you're still stuck with NVIDIA. I want this chip to do well.
Yeah, everyone should want AMD to like just blow up and do really well. Everyone should.
Yes. And I'm tired of the petty ante upgrades and the price gouging, excuse me if I could speak.
You're fine.
Gouging of the NVIDIAs and the Intels of the world. Like, it's a little bit much nowadays. And this AMD, though I don't subscribe to AMD, I subscribe that we need competition in this world.
Right, exactly.
Competition is good. You know what I mean? Competition will get them. I mean, look how Microsensor reacted when, albeit it could have, for whatever reason, could have been, Microsoft is in bed with AMD in a lot of ways. So, and if more things you were mentioning in your last video, Vulkan, was it that you were like, I wish everything could run on Vulkan?
I have said similar things, but I didn't mention.
It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't me in my last video. Yeah,
I think it was in a conversation. Like, if they can get Vulkan out to where it's right neck and neck with DX12 and how it's being used and implemented, there could be some upswing for this Ryzen chip. But like I said, I don't know if I'm not turned off completely, but I do want this chip to perform well, commercially and critically. You know what I mean?
There's a guy I watch on YouTube. I'm not gonna lie, he does have extreme AMD bias. So when he made his, I don't want to call it a damage control video, but I'm sure a lot of people felt that way when he made his Ryzen thoughts video and talked about the tech press like slamming it, and he had a lot of issues with a lot of what the tech press has had to say. But anyway, at one point he did say something that made a lot of sense, and he said you also have to remember that a lot of these developers now are, because Intel has dominated for so long, are optimizing for Intel's architecture and their chips, and not really paying as much attention to the AMD side of things. And that could be another reason why we have the results we have with some of those benchmarks. I don't know how true that is. I don't know how accurate that is. Again, I don't pretend to know everything there is to know about game development, but that's something to keep in mind. Like if that's really happening, if that's really what's going on, developers are more focused on the Intel side of things, then yeah, you will get the results that we've got with some of these benchmarks. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm a little torn. I was leaning more toward the, I want to do the Ryzen build, but now I'm kind of like, I don't know, maybe I should just stick with Intel to be safe. But yeah, I mean, I think just for the competition thing, I could give Ryzen a go, and if I'm disappointed or something with it, then I'll just return everything and stick with Intel, I guess. I don't really know what I can say beyond that. I just like you said, like we talked about, competition is great. You want AMD to do well because right now there's no one else that it's Intel or AMD for the CPU side of things, and I guess it's all in what you want, and you probably can't get a better price that, like you also mentioned, where you're maybe not as great as Intel for the games, but still really good, and just blows Intel away for the price when it comes to, multi-threaded applications. So that's something to keep in mind. It's all in what you're doing. It's all in what games you're playing. Are you a content creator on YouTube or Twitch? I mean, it's all those things need to be taken into consideration when you're thinking about pulling the trigger on Intel or AMD. The greatest response that Intel could have is something that was very similar to what AMD has now, but still keeping that gaming performance that Intel has, and maybe even for a less price. Like AMD has the 1800X for like 450, 500. Like if they brought out a similar chip that blew it away in games and was on par with it in multi-threaded applications for like 4 or 450, around the same price, then it could get interesting. But that's what we want. Like we want them to go back and forth, and people just, there's a lot of fanboys out there. I'm starting to see more and more in the PC space. Maybe not quite as crazy as what we've seen from the console war space, but there are Intel versus AMD battles and NVIDIA versus AMD battles a lot. And I think that's sad what some of these guys will say to each other, and the lengths that they'll go to try and feel like their opinion is somehow fact. So anything else you wanna touch on with Ryzen?
The fanboys, they just haven't had a reason to be neck and neck in a long time. That's why you probably haven't noticed it so much.
Right.
I mean, it's been pretty one-sided for a while now. So, there's fanboys everywhere. They're always lurking, ready to rear their ugly heads. Anyway,
let's talk about something I can't say much about in terms of like actually playing, but you have actually, you know what? Let's talk. I want to get your thoughts on Horizon Zero Dawn a little bit more, and then we'll move into Zelda and your thoughts on that now that you've had a chance to play it a little bit more. So tell me about Horizon, and are the scores warranted? Do you feel like the scores should be higher? Do you care about the scores matching up with your opinion of the game?
Okay, well, to answer that, I usually don't care about score.
Sure.
On it. I will use scores as a metric. So, like, if everybody's saying this, then it has to be somewhere within that realm, right? I'm not going to completely disregard somebody's work, but I look at a group thing and I go, okay, overall 8s and 9s, okay, looks like we got a decent game, something worth a try. Now, this game, real quick, is a brilliant piece of work. And the more and more I play it, the more and more I'm resigned to, like, I cannot believe that they accomplished this. And so when you asked me this question last time and the recording got messed up, I stated that it's an amalgamation of all the great games that have come before, put together in this one brilliant package and given to you for $60 and said, "Go ham, do whatever you want," right? And and it's very much that. It's one of the best looking games I've ever played, hands down. I've never seen visuals like this, and I said this to you, and whoever wants to attack me or not accept the facts or however, I've never seen something look this good on PC.
Okay.
And my rig is not slouch, and you know that because you know my specs.
Sure.
That's now this is just my opinion. 4K and HDR might have a long go with that, but overall character models, the environment, the details. You can be walking around at night, and as night starts to as dusk, as evening goes to dusk, and the sun starts to settle, and the pink, the hues of pink and orange that are cast out into certain parts of the world, but don't reach you until you reach it. That like are done in the way it would really happen in the world, or when the sky is just overcast, or like as night falls and the different night creatures start to come out, and the lightning bugs that were asleep in the ground start to rise up out of the bushes and everything, and they're lighting up the little bushes that they were sleeping in, or the owls start to hoot and the wind blows and the grass waves, and then you go through a night and morning, as the morning chill gives way to like the day air, the fog raises up off the ground and just engulfs the forest, and the moon ray, the god rays coming off the moon through the tops of through the clouds. Like, I've never seen anything like this. Go to Twitter and look at your Twitter feeds on these pictures, and they don't even do the game justice.
Yeah, they never will. Like within a game. That's true. That's true.
And so now the minute-to-minute gameplay, because it's not all about visuals, right? The gameplay is more than adequate, more than serviceable. Some of the funnest gameplay. You're battling robots, dinosaurs, robot animals, humans. You've got your Tomb Raider, you've got your Red Dead Redemption. You got all these. Like I said, it's a great game. It's a beautiful package. And real quick, like last night, I was telling Bear Hugger 29, what up, man?
Yeah.
Shout out. We were talking, and I played the game, but I didn't want to do anything. But I did not want to play the game, right? So I just went around collecting resources and hunting actual animals like boar and raccoon and stuff for some, because I needed to upgrade some of my pouches, and just tracking down like some artifacts. Like I basically was like an architect or a treasure hunter for like my couple of hours in the world last night. I didn't get into a lot of fights. I avoided as many fights as possible.
Sure.
And I just went around, and I was telling Bear, I was like, this is the great thing about this game. I can do whatever I want, and it will let me. It's not pushing me going, go do this mission, go do this. If you don't do this, there's not an arrow going, hey, you go here. If I could turn off all the mission objectives, I could turn everything off and just do what I want to do. And the game doesn't push back. It just lets you.
That's good. That's what I like. That's what I like to see.
And it's amazing. And the story, once you start to piece together the story that you know from past experiences without giving away too much, you're like, Jesus, how did they even do this? I'm telling you, Guerrilla Games, they stuck their whole foot in this game. And you can tell that this was a project of their passion. This is something that they wanted to give to the world, and you can see that. Not saying that devs go to work and don't want to, right?
Sure.
But they really wanted to give, and that is evident in almost every way you look in this game. So, I digress from there.
Okay, so my question to you is right now, are you putting Horizon over Yakuza and Witcher 3 as your games of the generation?
I have to finish it. I won't. Narratively, Yakuza is always that narrative in Yakuza, and the way that it's delivered was so refreshing to me.
Right, sure.
You know what I mean? That's going to be hard. And The Witcher 3 is The Witcher 3. But if you like The Witcher 3, or love The Witcher 3, there is no reason why this game is not for you. You know what
So
I
so you,
mean?
so you're telling me that as someone that doesn't really have a lot of interest in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes, if you love Richard, you need to be on.
You
Just
still
because of I'm telling you, yes, it is every bit that and more so, and more so. The only thing that I would ever say right now, hand to hand, The Witcher 3 has over HZD, because that's what we do now with the acronyms, we the cool kids, right? Is the FPS.
that's it, right?
Which right now, from where I'm standing, you know what I mean? Now, I can't believe I'm going to say this,
Uh-oh.
but as 30 FPS goes on a console, it is some of the smoothest 30 FPS you're gonna get on a console. You know what I mean? Like I know. But I'm telling you, the game is amazing.
Well, I was watching Solid Rev play it last night. He did a like an hour live stream, and I will say that he was not feeling the game from the very beginning.
Yeah, you could tell with him.
He did not have very nice things to say about it. Didn't really seem to like any of the characters or anything, and but
You
he
know where
did
that stems from.
he, he did say, look, I'm not even gonna lie, this shit feels smooth for 30 FPS. This gameplay is really solid. I do like that. So he was enjoying it from a performance gameplay standpoint. So that's saying a lot, because I mean, he even admitted himself that those usually aren't his type of game. So I feel like if he even likes that a little bit, then I should definitely check out Horizon Zero Dawn at some point. You know what I mean? He and I have similar taste in some things, but I was telling him about Nier last night. I'm like, you getting that Nier, son? He was like, nah, I don't think so. Not my type of game. And I'm like, did you like Metal Gear Rising? He was like, nah, I don't know if I could play a game where like a dude's walking around in heels or whatever. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, yo, but the game is so much fun though. Like, I don't even think about that stuff when I'm playing. He's like, yeah, I know. It's just like I kind of like the realistic approach to games. I guess I'm just spoiled on that something like that, something to that effect. And I was absolutely disgusted that this thing continues, and we can kind of segue into that, I guess, where when I was watching his stream, there were so many people in his live chat that were talking about Zelda blows this game out of the fucking water, or Horizon shits on Zelda. And I'm like, why does this even need to be a thing? Like, why does this even matter? Like, I don't. As long as you're enjoying Zelda, as long as you're enjoying HZD, then why does it matter? Why does it matter which one has the higher Metacritic score? Look, man, it's all said and done. I don't know if any other game. I think one game that might have a shot is like, say, Red Dead Redemption 2 or the Last of Us 2, but I don't think there's going to be any other game this generation that's going to rate as high as Zelda is. Like, where it sits right now, I think it's probably going to stay there. It's going to be the Grand Theft Auto 4 of this generation. A lot of people feel it doesn't deserve where it sits at as far as scores go, but it does. Fact of the matter is that it does. And that's all that needs to be said. Like, I mean, the reviews are what they are. They're just opinions. To use them in a war or a console war, list war, whatever it is, and say, yeah, but my game is rated higher. You understand that these critics that you worship, along with these companies that you worship, actually don't really give a damn what you think about their opinion. Like, just because they give a game a 9 or a 10 or even a 4, it's just their opinion. There's nothing to get worked up about. I think it's crazy that people lose their minds. I forget what magazine or website it was, but I remember when Killzone 2 was coming out, one critic had mentioned that he had received threats that someone would come to their offices and knife them, or bomb threats or something, if they gave Killzone 2 anything less than a 9. I think that is crazy. Whether that person was serious or not is irrelevant. Just even saying or thinking something like that is crazy. And from that point forward, I mean, I already knew it. Well, I guess I don't want to say I knew it, but I definitely felt it. I'm like, man, these Sony guys are really crazy. I had never seen anything like that. And I honestly can't say, as far as the Sony camp is concerned, that it's really changed. They are maybe some of the worst human beings on this planet Earth. And I'm not talking about Sony fans or those that enjoy Sony games and just play their console just to play their games and enjoy them and have fun. I'm talking about the maniacs, the fanboys. Yeah, the zealots, exactly. I'm not trying to like group you all into one or like generalize a whole fan base. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Microsoft doesn't have some of the same people, because they do. But I have seen this now for so many years. I don't know what Sony has done, but this has been going on probably to a much lesser degree since like early 2000s, I think. Like I don't know what Sony has done, but these people love Sony and will they refer to Sony's exclusives as our games, as our exclusives. Why should the PC get our games, our exclusives? You guys just pirate games anyway. You're not going to pay for these games, even if Sony gives you an Uncharted or a Last of Us. It's crazy. They refer to those games or that platform as their platform and their games. You understand that Sony owns those games, right? And this goes for all fan bases, man. But I'm just saying, like, it's crazy. Just to watch this guy trying to live stream Horizon Zero Dawn and see these maniacs from both Nintendo and Sony in his comment section going back and forth about Zelda and Horizon. And for someone like you that's played both, I'm sure you would probably agree, like, just enjoy the games. Just play them.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, that's where I stand on all things in that matter. Is like, yo, please play the games. And a lot of it is, first of all, Breath of the Wild is, and every minute I spend in that game, I enjoy. I'm hit with everything, nostalgia, new. It's just I smile the whole time.
Breath of the Wild, right? That's what we're talking
yes,
about. Okay.
Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Like I play that game with a constant smile on my face. It's a treat. Now it's the only thing the Switch has. That could be the only reason I'm trying to love it as much as I am too. But like, it's a good game. Now, when you look at the fanboys, I'll submit that probably a lot of these people don't even have said game that they're talking about. They just want to feel like they're part of something. You understand? Like, there's a point in some of these individuals' lives where they weren't hugged enough, they weren't told that they were special enough, and so they look and they search for something to belong to, and so they come across these plastic boxes, which they have all this fun with, and then they see that there are other people who have fun with these plastic boxes, and oh my God, like, we gotta form a cult, and whoever doesn't like our box, we gotta go out and attack. And it's ridiculous. Like, now there's a lot of reasons. It could be some people just play on one platform, they can't afford another platform, so they want to hate on it because people hate what they can't have, right? And then there's reasons where they just might not like it. But I don't understand what's the big deal for me. Like, first of all, they're plastic boxes. I don't know why you have to sign an allegiance to any of them. You know what I mean? You bought them. That should be good enough. Like, at the end of the day, it's your money going into this box. Like, it isn't doing... If you didn't have the money, this machine wouldn't do nothing for you. So why are you still, like, you know what I mean, hooked on it that way? And so you have Horizon as a Sony fan, and the Nintendo fans have Zelda. If you, as a Sony fan, have no interest in Zelda, why do you have to speak about Zelda? Why can't you just enjoy your game and that be it? And vice versa with the Nintendo fan. And it's this, they're insecure about their purchases, or somehow their self-respect or other things get tied into how their platform or their console of choice is doing. And it's just baffling. Like, you know, I'll agree. Like the Sony fanboys, the fanboys as well. It's to me they're arrogant. They come from a place of pure arrogance. The way they talk, the way they carry themselves, the way they act like their platform is the greatest thing ever created. Then you got the Microsoft fanboys. They're just, for lack of a better word, stupid. Like they'll lie, they'll lie, or they're just dumb. They don't know what they're talking about, or they can't speak English, or read a Reddit post correctly, or any number of things. And the Nintendo fanboys, I don't know, because they've been quiet for most of the generation. But the ones that popped up last week, Monday or Tuesday, when Horizon was out and Zelda wasn't even on the market, and were just destroying people playing Horizon and going off. Like, I don't want to know them people. I don't think the community can stand another rabid fan base. I really don't think it can. And so it's just like, man, I have a unique distinction, right? I know not everybody could do what we do. Not everybody could get every platform. Not everybody could play every game. But just because you can't and you're resigned to one or two platforms doesn't mean you automatically have to pick up pom-poms and cheerlead for that platform. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I really have on that.
I mean, that's really all there is to say. But on a side note, because I think we are gonna wrap this up, the goalpost moving needs to stop when it comes to PC games. As someone that PC is my primary platform, it's hilarious, a little disgusting, a little frustrating, all at the same time, that someone, you know, I don't want to do it, but every now and then I'll find myself participating in these list wars a little bit, and I'll say, man, but PC has more exclusives than all of these consoles combined. And I'll start, you know, putting down a list of 15, 20 games just that are coming out in the next few months or something, and someone will say, yeah, but where are the AAA games? And I'm like, it doesn't matter. You can't keep moving that goalpost. The exclusive isn't exclusive. Just because this game doesn't interest you, just because Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo aren't marketing this game, or it didn't show up at E3, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that it's a bad game. It just means that you don't have interest in it, and you're trying to move that goalpost because now I've said, look, this is what the PC has, and whether you have interest or not, these games, they still exist. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you've seen that, like, when it comes to the PC side of things.
Oh yeah, it's always, well, that's not a AAA game. That you can't take away a number. If something is there, it retains a value. It's given a number, and so it counts. And that's all that it is at the end of the day.
Right.
But but that would be for rational, even-minded people. You're dealing with fanboys.
Right. I'm sorry, I forgot. We're not dealing with rational people.
So all rationale goes right out. Just off the rip from jump, there's no rationale to be had. You know.
So, anyway, with that side note out of the way, I think this was a really good podcast. I think for the second time now, just us two held it down really well. And if we needed it to be like, you know, someone can't show up one week or whatever, you and I could do it if it was just us. And I kind of feel like I've had a lot of conversations with him now. I feel like Dredd and I could do the same thing, or even you and Dredd if there was a way to make that work or whatever. But I feel like we could definitely hold a lot of this down, just us two. I don't want to. I would like there to at least be one more person. But anyway, yes. The Divide, episode 3. It's been real. It's been fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Joey, I'm sure you enjoyed yourself. You're gonna come back, right? You're gonna come back?
Yeah, I'll be here next week.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you guys for watching. You guys take care. Peace.